Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Edna White, your host of Keeping It Real on Purpose. And today our guest is none other than Mikkel Leslie. She's a champion. She's an author and a coach for those ready to live their own lives. She's straight out of Dana Point, California. Huh, right? Am I right? Right?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like it. I haven't heard of Dana, but I'm sure you're going to tell me all about it. So, um, before coaching, Mikkel went through her own journey of self exploration, moving from what she was supposed to do to what she is passionate about. We love that, right, guys? Her journey started with engineering, tech, and sales, and has led her to inspiring others to stand up for their own lives. You will find her at the beach, Southern California, and with her husband and pet plants. Is
Oh,
that
yes. Oh,
right?
yeah.
I got to hear about that one. But welcome to the show, Mikkel. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to hop in.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So tell us about, first of all, Dana Point. Where is that located?
So it's outside of LA, southwest of LA on the beach.
Okay, got it. Okay,
Mhm.
got LA, got okay, West. Okay, gotcha. Now I want to hear about these pet plants now. Go ahead, let
Yes.
me in on that.
So behind me here, you can see some of them, and I have more spread throughout the house. And so I don't have pets, I don't have kids, I have pet plants, is what I have.
I like it a lot. I like that a lot. Well, I don't even count my plants, my pets, but I do talk to them a lot, trying to revive them and things like that. So I do that, and I play music for them. So that's a good thing. So now I know that I can call my pets, my plants, pets now.
Okay, you
So
can, for
that's
sure.
great. So tell us a little bit about you. I know that you're an author as well. Is that correct?
It is.
Good. I want to know about your book called Soar.
Yes, I think I have to have a copy right here, as a good
Okay.
author should be. So, soar by living your life.
Yes,
It is broken
yes.
down into three parts. The first is really understanding who you are by utilizing human design, which is a tool similar to astrology, actually uses astrology as
Okay.
part of it, but it's
All
more
right.
comprehensive and I love it so much more. And so we really get an understanding of who you are and who you're not compared to everyone else. Because so often we
Hmm.
compare ourselves to our parents, our coworkers, our siblings, but in reality, us ourselves are different from anyone else. And so the human design really allows us to understand that. And so that's the first part of the book.
Okay.
Second part of the book is all about understanding and knowing that you're worthy. Because so many of us have been put into a box being like, oh, you need to do
Yeah.
this, you need to do that to be
Yeah.
worthy. You have to be a mom, you have to be have this whole big business, you have to do all these
Oh,
different
yeah.
things. But at the end of the day, no matter what happens, no matter what you do, you are
Hmm.
worthy. Worthy to be alive, worthy to do the work that you love. You are worthy. And so that is all the second part. To be able to sink into that
Right.
so you can take a deep breath and start to enjoy your life.
Yeah. Took me a long time to do that. I promise you, it was like I think it started after I got a divorce and I had a party.
Right? There you go. Yes, celebrating that release and stepping
Yeah,
into a
it's
new
like
version of you.
I could
Yes.
breathe again. And it wasn't all
Mhm.
about like the relationship was tumultuous, but it was more about I now embraced that I can make a decision. That's what I was really having the party for is I didn't have to stay in that what I saw in generationally how people stay together because you're supposed to stay together, and that's the thing they handed down to us, and we're supposed to be in that misery the whole time. And I was celebrating because I was able to make a choice and I did something. I took action and I did something, and it literally set me soaring, and that was 2013.
Yes, quite a few years and of soaring into this
Yeah,
amazing life of yours. And that's actually the so choice. So many people don't understand that they have a choice in their
yeah,
lives. And so
yeah,
the first chapter of my book is all about telling you and understanding and breaking it down that you have a choice in your
yeah,
day-to-day actions. You have a
yeah,
choice in how you show up, your relationships. And when we
right,
take a step back and really see, like, oh, this is
yeah.
the life that I have created. Do I want to choose this anymore? We can step into a different life. This
Yeah.
actually gets into the third part of my book, which is all
Yes.
about understanding what it is that you want.
Okay.
Because so often we think like, oh, I want $1 million. I want, the best relationship ever. I want all
Yes.
these different
Yes.
things.
Yes.
But underneath that, what is it that you truly
Yeah.
want? What really
Yeah.
lights you up? What gets you excited? And
Yeah.
so in the third part, we break all that down and provide tools and resources for you to step into with it. This is what I want. This is what I know I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And then also tools and resources to be able to go about doing that too in ways that work for
Well,
you.
that's good. That's good, Mikkel. That's good because my book called The Big Ask is your third part because
Mm-hmm.
I asked all the questions because when I was going through everything I was going through, I never knew what I really wanted. I heard what I was supposed to want, and I saw it displayed before my eyes, but I never knew what I wanted. And I didn't even know what type of man I liked. Wasn't that crazy? Like
Mm-hmm.
who do I get attracted to? And I was always attracted to because my trauma was blaring. Those that just paid me a little bit of attention. Then I thought, oh, I'm in love. And it wasn't. It was not love. It was not love. And took me unearthing a lot of things, right? To and through that is asking questions, asking yourself the real hard questions to help understand yourself.
So true. Yeah, when you're able to dive in and understand yourself, and you like open up this amazing like present for yourself, and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is me. This is what I get excited about. This is what I love about life. Oh yes!" Like then you get to
Yes.
step into that and make
Yeah.
that your life.
Yeah. And that's it. You're digging into it. I like what you say. I always say delve, but you said dive in. I like that. Dive in. Just dive in. The troubled waters. Just dive in there. I love that. So tell us about how astrology has to do with this and how you bring it together
Yeah.
for your clients.
Yeah, so astrology, so the tool that I use within my book and within my coaching and my programs and everything is human design. And
Right.
so it includes five different modalities of different teachings. And one of those five is astrology. And so astrology plays a part in it. And
Yeah.
so with the human design, it's kind of like a personality test on steroids, where you're able to see and understand like who it is you work all by your birth date,
Oh
your birth
wow.
time, your birth location, all of that. So for
Okay.
myself, when I learned about my human design type, so this is one part of it, one of the main parts within human design. I was on a drive, and I was living in Utah at the time. I was on a drive, listening to a podcast about it. Heard about the manifestors that I was, and I was like, "Oh, I'm a manifestor. Well, listen up." And it told me like I moved from one thing to the next really quickly. And for so long, I brought shame to myself because I thought, 10 years, supposed to stay in the job for 10 years, all these different things. And so, like, I started to cry because I was like, oh my goodness, like, there's nothing wrong with me. And that's one of the huge
Yeah.
benefits that I see with human design is it allows us to live our best lives of who we
Oh
truly
wow.
are. And when
Oh,
you do that, then like all these pressures, all these strains, all this shame is just washed away. And you can
yeah.
walk into the room and be like, yep, this is me, this is my superpowers, let's get to work here.
That is so good. And what's the word again?
Human design.
Yeah, but what's the word you said you were?
I'm a manifester. That's my human design type.
Okay, that's your okay. Okay. Because I didn't know what that was. Like I
Yeah.
would get into something and it'd be great. And it wasn't like it was nothing wrong with it. I embrace it, learn about it, do it for a while. They're like, not that I'm tired of it. I go on to something else.
Yeah.
And it
Mm-hmm. You
transitions
feel
really
me?
well. Like it just
Yeah.
transitions. It really does. I remember going to Tai Chi,
Mm-hmm.
taking the classes. Then all of a sudden I migrated into yoga and from yoga to Pilates. And I was like, was I supposed to stay over there? Was
Totally.
I supposed
Mm-hmm.
to stay there? But yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I didn't know what that was. I really
Mm-hmm.
didn't.
Yeah, you have to look up your human design, like your chart, and see like what type
Okay.
you are. The internet
Okay.
has so many resources with it. On my website, you also have see like classes and different programs too
Okay.
for it all.
Okay.
But
I'm
then you
gonna
can dig
definitely
in
look
and
that
really see
up.
that.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely look that up. I'm gonna do that. That's really interesting. I like that. And what other what do you call them when you are that type? So is it manifesting?
Yeah.
How many others are there?
There's four others. So there's a total of five human design types. So
Human design
manifestors
types.
actually,
Okay. Okay.
the manifestors represent 8% of the current population.
Right.
The majority of the population are actually generators and manifesting generators. And generators are ones that are here to love the work that they do.
Okay.
They're more like worker bees, where they get into something, love it, dive head first, don't come up for a breath until they're like done with it all.
Okay.
And manifesting generators is a combination of the two. So they have
Okay.
that energy, but then they also have this tendency to move from one thing to another a little more
Right.
quickly. And then there's projectors, and these are the new age leaders of the world. They're able to see big picture and see how all of us, our strengths, our gifts, and how we can all come together to create a cohesive whole. And so they make
Okay.
great leaders. They make great presidents. They make great
Hmm.
leaders of companies, of all these different things. And then the last one is reflectors. They represent 1% of the population.
Oh
And
wow.
they're this beautiful creatures of the world of human beings that really reflect to us who we are, how we're working, how society is working. And so
Uh-huh.
they'll come into a room and reflect that energy of the room, reflect who you are. So if you're talking with a reflector and you're having a hard time, it's just reflecting back to you what's coming up and like all the different things that are
Oh
coming up
my
to you.
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now you got me. I'm gonna find those. I'm gonna definitely find. Now I'm gonna be looking all the time for this. I'm really gonna be
Mm-hmm.
seeing, you know, how you go to networking events and just looking around and listening in, like who's what. That's so good. That's
Right.
really good. So you look up your birthday. You get it goes. Everything goes by your birthday, which I do truly do
Yeah.
believe. I really do believe a lot of things are because of our birthdays. Well, I do
Mm-hmm.
believe that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy because my engineering brain initially was like, by your birthday, you can be able to like find all this information. And then I plugged it in and I was like, oh yeah, that is totally me. That's totally all my clients. How's that everyone? And I was like, okay, cool, all right. And all my clients that are like the engineering, like technical type, they're like, okay, we can try it, but like
Yeah.
I don't really like buy into it. And then I explain who they are, and they're like, okay, I'm listening. All right, let's dive in. Let's do this.
And how can we find this again? Because I'm going to make sure that we write this down. How can we
Yes.
go ahead?
So to find your human design chart, you can actually just Google human design chart. There's a couple different
Human
resources
design.
out
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You,
just
you
human
hear
design
that,
chart.
audience, right? I'm writing this down too, so you'll have it.
Mhm.
A human design chart.
Yes. So Google that, and
Yes.
then you'll want your birth date, which you probably typically have, and your
Yes.
birth time, which not always everyone has.
No.
So a couple tricks that I have is uh, if you have pictures of your like a birth or like a camera or something like that, sometimes they'll have a time tag to them. So you can
Yeah.
go take a look at that. Ask your parents, ask your grandparents, ask
Yeah.
anyone
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
around when you were birthed.
Okay.
And then if you don't know exactly, you can start plugging in different times and seeing
Okay.
what changes.
Gotcha.
Oftentimes, not everything will change. So then you can be
Yeah.
like, okay, this is me. And then
Yeah.
this may be me, and kind of get a guess for it all.
Ooh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So now that you're soaring around with this new book, you're all over the place, soaring everywhere, and you're just really opening up avenues for people. What can you say was the most challenging when you started doing this? What was the most challenging?
Yeah, so similar to you, where things transition from one thing to a next, I decided to write my book. And then soon after, all my clients left. And I was like,
Ugh.
what's happening? Like, oh my goodness, like, no, like, I can't know my purpose. Like, I gotta go, I gotta do. And then only afterwards had I realized, like, it allowed me time and space to write my book. And then clients
Yes.
came back, and it was a whole
Yes.
process of it all. And we have to track in that process for it all and not get stuck and be like, oh my goodness, what's happening? What's wrong with it
Yeah,
all?
yeah.
But in reality, it is setting you up for something bigger and better. And the
Yeah.
more that we can lean into that, the more that we can really blossom into who we're going to be next. Because the
Yeah.
next version of you is so much prettier and more aligned and
Yeah.
happier to enjoy
It's
this life.
true. It's true. How can you just said something that's really important because a lot of our clients do go through that, how can we all of a sudden where things start to fail, like things just
Mm-hmm.
start happening,
Yeah.
and then how can we start to or get to the place where we have to start thinking and seeing the good in it, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we're too much in it
Yeah.
and like all those things are happening and then we stay there. How can we get out of that?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a couple different tools that I like to utilize. One of them I actually used before this because I am going through another tumultuous change and seeing it and being like, something is building, something is happening
Yeah.
here. And so one of my favorite ways is actually dance and to move your body because that moves energy
Okay.
and
Me
releases
too. Me
emotions and other
too.
things. So a tool that I use, I actually pulled it from Mama Gina's work, is play three songs. One that's like an angry, raw song. I just played some
Gotcha.
Limp Bizkit, put it on, and was like, go.
Right.
And then the second one is a sad song, one that will help to promote maybe tears or
Okay.
like
Okay. Okay.
sadness. And then the third one is a hype song, getting you excited, moving that energy and being like, yeah,
Okay.
now I'm ready for more. So, or some expansion. So that's one of my favorite is because energy lives in our body. And the more
Right.
that we can move it and utilize it to our benefit, the
Right.
easier things can come.
Gotcha. Well, I like that because I do use dance in my retreats, and I love them. When I was first building them, right? They asked, "What do you want to do? Yoga?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Everybody does yoga." I was like, "What I really want to build into my retreats is, fun, and I also want to dance." And they said, "Why?" I said, "Because when I was a child and I had a lot of trauma that was going on, I lost my creativity, imagination, and I find it now, just
Yeah.
dancing, and I find it in there. And I could dance with a prince. I can dance with a princess. I can dance with an elephant. I mean, I'm there. I could be listening to an 80s song and I'm in my 80s clothes, and I'm using my imagination. They was like, oh my gosh, that's really great. But what you gave me is so good, so good. I love it to add that in there. I love that. That's great.
Hmm.
Great stuff. That's really great stuff. So tell us how now what you're doing and how this time and era is really like working for you or against you, or how you really you know getting into things now.
Yes. So I've been leaning more and more into my human design. And so like seeing that as a tool and being like, okay, like I have this code to break down like how it is I best work. So
Yes.
for me, like speaking is a huge part and like video and like being in conversations like this is huge
Yeah.
because I was able to share my message, share what I
Yes.
have with the world. And people can see my energy and be like, yes, no, and go from there. So podcasting has actually been something that I've been leaning into more. And it's been
Okay.
really fun because I have conversations like this and we get to talk and dive in and ask
Yeah.
these hard questions of ourselves and be like, okay, what's going on? What can we do more and better
Right.
to improve our lives as we want to? So that's something new. Second thing is I have this new program called Travel Transformation. And I'm
Gotcha.
taking people across the world, diving
Hmm.
into building their life and business in ways that work for them. So we're going on 3 trips. They're coming out to me in
Oh,
Dana
wow.
Point on the beach with toes in the sand. We're going to plan out like what vision they have for their life, for their business that really works for them. Then I go to them to help to integrate it all because so often we get out of a program, out of something, and we're like, yeah,
Hmm.
like integration to be like, it's so hard, like bring it back to your day to day life. So we're going to help to make sure that happens. And then
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
third is to expand even further and take them on a trip to someone that they've always wanted to go, anywhere across the world. So I'm
Right.
excited to dive into those individuals who are ready to expand on that next level.
Oh, good. That's good. How do you awaken? Because you say that a lot. Awaken individuals to their full
Yes.
potential.
Yes. I took a deep breath because it's breathing into them. It is really sinking into and releasing all the pressures, all the
Yes,
constraints
that's
that
a
they
good one.
have, and
Take
like
a
just letting go of everything else and being like, me, like, what do I want? What is it that I desire? What is underneath all these expectations
yeah,
of running the kids to the store, of making dinner, of your husband asking, like, what's for dinner? 20th time and be like, I'm done with this. But what's underneath all of that for you to be able to step into? And what
yeah,
really gets you excited because that's going to really light up your light and like
yeah,
life and light and just
yeah.
be who you're meant to be.
Right. I'm glad you're talking about that because we're in an era where, and I know I was probably before, in an era where emotions are not the thing, and we've seen that in different areas, different, organizations. We've seen that emotions is not the thing, and I know for a woman of color, we have to be strong. Can't be sharing all those feelings. We have to have this tough exterior. Share something that we can take steps to realize that and dispel that myth.
we're emotional beings. Like the
Yeah.
word being is like being able to embrace those emotions. And
Right.
all of us have emotions. The more that we shut them down, more that we say, nope, you can't express that. Nope, you can't feel this.
Yeah.
And I have felt this my entire life.
Yeah.
So within human design, they have this energy center, and it's similar to chakras within that system. And so my emotional center is on. So I feel emotions and I feel them
Yeah.
real and big, and I go there and do that. But for so long, I felt like I had to suppress them because
Yeah.
others would pick up on those energies and
Yeah.
amplify them. So
Right.
that's the other side. If you don't have that, then that's what happens. And so my
Hmm.
mom would amplify it and be like, oh God, like, no, too much. My sisters would get amplified. My dad and be like, this is a mess. So I had to like shut them down. But
Yeah.
the more I was able to express them, the more I could enjoy life, the more I could be goofy and playful and have fun. But
Yeah.
the more that I could like just
Absolutely.
suppress them and like hold them back, the more I just felt bottled up and felt
Yeah.
like I was going to explode. And that's
Yeah.
what it is. It's like building up pressure and pressure and pressure until you
Yes.
yell at your kids, until you yell at your husband, and you're like, that wasn't me. I'm sorry. Like I didn't mean to. And that's because you're suppressing those emotions and filing them in. The more you can express them by with movement, with a dance, with just saying what's on your mind and just being there and being present with it.
Right.
Emotions are not bad. They're clues and indications of what is
Yeah.
actually going on. If you're feeling angry, you might be irritated about something going on. So human design offers some instances where you can see into those emotions, and they're
Hmm.
providing clues on the backside of what's going on. For
Yeah.
me as a manifester, anger represents that I need to tell people more about what I expect, what I envision, what's going
Gotcha.
on. And so it's cool to be able to see that and be like, oh, whenever I feel that, I gotta like speak my mind, see what's
Yeah.
going on with
Yeah.
it all. And so know that each of those emotions can be able to tap you into a deeper level. And so one tool that I use with my clients, it's super helpful, is to see that emotion in your body, like visualize it, see what it looks like.
Hmm.
So it could be in your chest, for example. It could be this knot of like different like cord, like in your
Yeah.
heart. It could
Yes.
be red. It could be, what textures have it as a cord texture.
Yeah.
How big is it? And like be able to describe it as something and then
Hmm.
pull it out and then ask it, what is it you're trying to tell me? Like you're trying to tell me something. Something is there.
Right. Right.
What is
Right.
it that you're trying to tell me? And just wait
Right.
and listen to see what it has to say. And then when you're able to hear that, allow it to sink in and be like, okay, I hear you. Then ask it, what can you do to support it? And let whatever comes up come up and then do it. So be able
Right.
to support it and allow it to
Yeah.
move through you.
Yeah. And sometimes we're too busy to do that.
Yes.
We're
Oh, but
too busy to do that. And when
uh-huh.
I started doing that, years back, I think I started around 2011, 2012 to really kind of like get to that step. But when
Yeah.
I started to really do that, I embraced affirmations. I embraced just breathing. I used to look at people, meditating on YouTube, and I was like, there is no way.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Hours, there was no way. And
Mm-hmm.
something just said to me, do it your way. And what I like to do was walk. And I would
Yeah.
have the best conversations with the universe. I would have the best rush of feeling with the universe. And I would be revived literally just from walking and not listening or doing anything at all, just walking. So I found my meditation, I found it,
Hey.
and I don't give it up. I do not give it up. But sometimes we're so busy that we don't want to wait that breath, because it really is a breath. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself a question, you breathe in, you breathe out, breathe in, you breathe out, and you just got to listen for the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes stuff gets in the way, but yeah, get out of here. Not right now.
Right?
Not right
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Your brain is
And
a
you got to be
muscle.
willing
Yeah.
to. You got to be willing to listen. You gotta listen.
Mm-hmm.
You have all the answers. You just gotta listen.
It's all in there. And your brain is a muscle. And
Yeah,
so, like meditation, all these like relaxation
yeah.
tools and techniques, and your brain has to get used to them. Out of the box, you're not going to be able to meditate and like zone out and like have nothing on your brain for an hour.
Yes,
Like,
it's
no,
never
it's
gonna
not going to
happen.
happen. I started meditating by like trying to like stare at a candle. And I was like, a minute in, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I can't, like, I don't get it. Like, what's happening? What's missing? So,
I
like,
did the same thing. I'm telling you,
yeah.
it's the same
Mhm.
thing. I was like, oh, that's not gonna work.
Yeah. But now I like meditate for hours typically a day just because I
Yeah.
love it and that connection to
Yes, yes.
earth.
And I don't
And
even know I'm
so,
doing it. I don't even know.
yeah.
I don't even know. And I love connecting with myself first and connecting with a next level second thing, Love
So
that.
good.
And be able to hear. Be able to hear.
Hmm.
So is there anything that you could tell our audience who are having these big transformations in their lives, to encourage them, in
Hmm.
your own way? Just
Yeah. Buckle up, Buttercup, because this is your life. This is your journey. This is what you have chosen to ride into life.
yeah.
And the more that you can embrace it, the more you can be like, okay, we're going, we're doing this. Like it's a roller coaster, and like see it as that excitement, see that as like, oh, what's next? What's gonna happen? The more you're going to be able to enjoy the ride. The more you step back into fear and be like, I can't step onto that, and then you're like already on it, like, ah! Then of course you're not going to enjoy it. But see what you can enjoy. Listen to the birds outside. See the sunset. See the
Yes.
different things that can light you up and really enjoy your day to day life. Because there's things out there, no matter what's going on,
Yeah.
that can bring you back to you, to the universe, to source, to everything that's around you to show you that you're amazing, you're incredible just as you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, Mikkel, we really thank you for being here because this was excellent. This, I'm going to leave it alone because it's a super power packed information. You better get in there with your pen and paper, guys. So if you listen to this on the audio, make sure download it so you got to hear all of the diamonds is being dropped by Mikkel. And then if you're watching us on video, keep replaying, replay. Because there's some good stuff here, guys. This is Edna White, your host of Keeping It Real, and my esteemed guest, Mikkel Leslie, saying goodbye for now.
Bye, all.